How have you been?
Right?
Yeah.
I've been good. I think we are literally, seeing each other after good 12 years or so.
Yeah, easily. I think it was 2009 we completed our graduation. 2008
I
or
think
9 sometime.
2008. It was,
2008.
yeah.
And look how far we've
Wow.
come.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, I was just telling the audience about how I know you, and I from college days I remember you being you did not really talk much, and you were there and not there. You were that kind of a person, like very quiet. Like Nikita is there, but yeah, she wouldn't be the one who will be doing all the talking. And I'm so glad with your journey and how, if correct me if I'm wrong, that you have authored about 15 books already.
24.
Oh wow! Okay, I am far behind the number.
Yeah.
Wow, 24 books. That's
Yeah.
something.
So
That's
I
absolutely
started my blog. Yeah. So I started my blog around the same time we completed our graduation. I would say 2009. And it was just an alternative to my personal journal. I just wanted to share my life with strangers. And the journey has been good. I started getting contacted with publishers, and they wanted to get me published. So I was like, maybe I'm doing something good. Wow. Absolutely. I would agree with that. You absolutely are doing something beautiful. And some of your titles I have, I have gone through some of it. And every title comes with so much of depth that, you can just understand that what is going to be in that book just by the title itself. And Shruti, frankly, I've always been this person who has a more better life internally than externally. So I've always wanted to know myself better than being in. I love people. I want to know great people. Absolutely. But I feel that once you know yourself better, all your relationships become better because you know where you are coming from. It was just that I was not opening myself up to people. And when I did, it was magical, truly magical. Yeah, absolutely. So, Nikita, can you just, tell our audience a bit about your journey? How did you start and, how did you come from there, like from 2009 to 2020? Like, 20, just, we'll just walk with you and you just set the pace and we are there with you. Okay. So, if I have to tell you frankly, I started writing when I was 10 or 11 years old. So I have a diary for every year where I religiously pen down whatever happened in my day. So, in my early 20s, I started a blog. Actually, it was my husband who suggested that you should start a blog. Yeah. So I started this blog, and even at the blog, I was just writing religiously. I had like 2 followers for 6 months, and I was not running for followers. I was just writing everything down, sharing my life, and my readers have seen me through worst phases of my life because earlier it was more of a personal journey. Right now I'm talking about social issues and all that, but earlier it was just whatever is going on in my life. So from there I started getting to know publishers and editors, and my first book was published in 2013, I would say. All right. And after that, it has been 24 books so far, and let's see when the next comes out. Yeah. Wow, that's absolutely incredible. Honestly speaking, like in our college days, they were like, I think we were about 30, 35, the strength. I think that was about the right number, right? Yeah. And yeah, like, honestly, talking about it, I never really thought that, one of us would be an author. Like to be very honest. And I'm so glad and I'm so happy to see you being that one. Thank you so much. Because you had that. Uh-huh. Please go ahead. Do you remember one of our professors? He retired in the first year only. SKG sir, I remember. Maybe. SKG, yeah. Was he the first one? Yeah, right. So as soon as we joined the college, he retired in a few months, and he was the first one to tell me that you could be a great writer, and I was like, writer, me? Oh wow! Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, the first year of college, I don't even remember how many classes I attended. Like, you know, I,
I remember.
yeah, I totally,
for notes.
like, you know, I'm so, honestly, I would say I feel bad about it, you know, and if I could go back in time, I would just go and religiously attend every class, to be
And
very
if I
honest.
could go back, I would just bunk all the classes.
Oh, and we had some really good professors, I would say.
Yeah. Right.
Absolutely. Like, I absolutely loved Urvashi ma'am.
Yeah,
And
phenomenal.
Absolutely. And who was that? I don't remember her name. She was Reena. No, I honestly don't remember her name at all. But even she was. I cannot answer that question. Like, honestly, I don't even remember which year she taught us. But I just remember that, you know, she had that aura, she had that personality that I really wanted. I honestly wanted to attend her lectures. Just that I could not most of the time. But yeah, yeah, she was like one of those. And even Swadesh sir, he had that personality that I could, yeah, absolutely.
Right.
So I would say, yeah, this possibly, you know, your journey somehow started way back in 2000. Obviously, it started way back when you were 10-year-old.
Right.
But I think DAV definitely gave us something, some really good boost, and you know, the right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
all right.
I look back at the books that were like really boring for us, and we read them back and we're like, oh my god, they are splendid. Because that time we did not have that mind to understand it, and it was like, just we have to finish this stuff somehow. Like Waiting for Godot, if you remember.
That's one of my favorite books.
Right.
Like, I cannot get over it.
Right. So yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we'll quickly be going to our next question. So we have talked about your journey a bit. So can you tell us the moment when you actually decided to, you know, say yes to one of the publishers, and what was your cue for it? What was your message that, you know, you got from your heart or your soul, and it just, you know, told you that, yeah, just, you know, go ahead. So what was that particular moment? What was that feeling?
So I would say subconsciously, I have always wanted to write a book. So as a kid, I would DIY a book with pages, and I'll draw little things and write a story. And I submitted it as a project in the school. So subconsciously, I've always wanted that, but I was not really sure that people would like to read me if I have something really important to say or not. So when the publisher started contacting me, I was like, let's go for it with one poem or with one short story and see how it goes. Like, there's nothing to lose. And after that, it was like a cycle. Like, after every book I started submitting myself, my work, and I got selected. I got rejected many times, but it has been phenomenal. Yeah, it has been a great journey so far. Yeah. Absolutely. All right. So now, you have already told us that you have written 24 of them. So I am really sorry to ask this question, but which one is your favorite? I'm sorry that I'm putting you in that spot, but yes, I just want to. Let's say that. Tell you that there's a book called Purple Hues. It's a series of anthology, and I started as a poet, and I ended up being the managing editor for that book. So they started launching it every year with a different theme. And Purple Hues 3, I would say, was like a baby. I started from the scratch. I accepted submissions. I sent rejection letters myself. Oh, so wow. I did the editing. I selected the cover page. So and the theme was parent-child relationships. So there was some really beautiful content that came our way. Like, one of our authors, he had lost his father a few months ago. So, and there was another one who came to know that he was adopted, and how was this whole struggle that suddenly the parents I know are not my real parents. So they are really beautiful stories there. Oh, wow. And I think because,
when you are on the other side and you get to read everything. So I am pretty sure that at times it becomes very emotional for you, because because I think when you write, I think you put yourself in that state where you accept yourself to be someone who is vulnerable. Because, writing is being vulnerable, because you cannot write if you cannot feel, right?
I'll tell you something. I read somewhere that writing is like walking without any clothes in front of the strangers. You are exposing your vulnerabilities, your weakness, your demons, and you're giving people the right to judge you because they know your secrets, they know about you. So, and as frightening as it may sound, it is also empowering. Like you're not afraid to show the world who you are.
Wow, that's so beautiful.
Writing is my rehab, I would say. It's my catharsis. So it gives me hope, and eventually I've realized that when I open my heart, it's also helping other people. I will tell you one more incident. I got an email from a stranger, and he said that he had been going through depression, and reading my blog helped him overcome it. And I was like taken aback, and he was not in my follower list. He had never commented on my post. And I was like, there are people, like invisible readers, they are out there reading my blog, but I'm never getting to know about it. And that was the moment I started feeling responsible for what I write. Like, I just cannot go and chat there. I have to be responsible.
Wow. Yeah. So the journey, like, you started off somewhere, and then it keeps teaching you. It just keeps, you keep adding things to yourself, and you start realizing that, like you just said, that, you realize that it is one of your responsibilities now, that, people are reading and you are helping them. Right. So that's absolutely beautiful, Nikita. It's absolutely beautiful, I have to say.
Yeah. And it also inspires you to learn more about human psych, or just read more biographies to know people better, so that you can eventually understand yourself better and help other people discover themselves.
Right. So I would like to ask you something here, that do you hear back from your readers often?
I would say some of my followers regularly leave comments, but most of them are invisible. Like I've received 10 to 12 emails like that, but mostly it's me talking there.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. This is the connection that I think it just exists. Like between a reader and a author or a writer or a poet, for that matter. It's just there. And I think it's one of the most beautiful things in the story.
Right. And it makes people open up to you. Like someone else is also going through something. I'm not alone. And they can comfortably come and talk to you. Like one of my posts was about domestic violence, and one of my closest friends came to me. Like I would have never thought she's going through something like that.
Yeah.
And she came to me and she expressed everything. And I was like, and she said, I was literally crying while reading your blog, and she told me everything. So it's, I don't know if anything is more beautiful than that, that you are connecting with people at such a deeper level.
Right. Yeah. Like, even because, obviously we have been literature students, and we have read poems that were written way, way back. And the emotions that are sort of, that can be felt in those poems, it's just so amazing that those are the same emotions that were possibly felt by those poets years ago.
Yes,
so I think it's absolutely mesmerizing, I would say.
Yeah. And I think literature has helped us become better human beings. Like my plan was to do BCom and become a CA, but this just happened. I was like, let's see, we'll do an MBA or we'll get into PR or something, because I was a very confused kid. I didn't know what to do. I was just like, let's just see where life takes me.
Nikita, I really think that, that's a Capricorn thing, by the way. I'm really sorry. But yeah, I think that is one of the reasons that, possibly, because I can absolutely understand what you are saying, that this, that, let's see, let's just go ahead. So I think that's a Capricorn thing. And somehow it just, brought us together in this literature world. So it's,
And I've read that Capricorns really plan their life, and I'm like, no, I'm not that person.
Like, possibly, we'll give it a structure and then we'll be like, no, not really. I don't want to do that. It's as simple as that. Yeah. So
Yeah,
even
connect on that level too.
absolutely. So even for literature, to be very honest, I went ahead with literature just because, in school, I used to love reading. And I was like, this is what English literature is about. So let's go ahead. Obviously, I had no idea that I will be studying so many things in depth. And I am honestly very glad that for whatever the reasons I did that. And yeah, as you said that, literature definitely has, I would say, given us this, this hold on our emotions and given us the right is not the right word actually. It has given us the path to just be vulnerable. Yeah, just go and explore yourself.
And those are the books we would have never picked up to read. Like never. Achilles.
Never. Oh yeah, absolutely. Never. I am just so glad for Waiting for Godot, to be very honest. I'm so glad that it came into our lives, and otherwise, I'm sure I wouldn't have even heard about it, and I wouldn't have any idea of something like this beautiful existing.
Right. And Shruti, one more thing, if you have noticed, it was just reading and exchanging notes when we were in college. Like, I would never go to YouTube, and I don't know if we had YouTube that time. Maybe we had.
Maybe we had, but not to this extent.
Like right now, if I'm not liking a book, I'll just go to YouTube, check out the summary, and I know what's it about. Like, I really don't have a patience to go after 50 pages if I'm not liking the book.
Absolutely.
But that time it was a compulsion.
We had no other option. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's just, it's there, go and read. Whenever, whatever, we don't, it's just, it has to be read, so it has to be read.
Right.
Absolutely. All right, so next question for you is, so what is your favorite book? I know I am again putting you in a spot, but I'm really sorry again for that. But yes, what is your favorite book, and what is that one character that you completely, you relate with somehow? Like it can be any one of those. So yeah, just, world is your oyster. Go ahead.
I think it would be Jane Eyre by Charlotte Brontë. We had read it during the college, but she's such a strong character, like starting from an orphan and discovering herself. Like all the chaos that could happened in that book.
Absolutely. That's so true. And would you say that you even relate with that character, or?
I think because her spiritual journey, I think I can relate to that because I'm always trying to explore things. Like I've been from atheist to a strong believer, so it's like a cycle. It goes on. I'm still discovering what I actually believe in.
Yeah, wow, that's a great answer. I would say that I honestly, to be honest, I wasn't even expecting, like, I wasn't trying to even guess, but this would have been my possibly the last guess. But I think that's absolutely a great answer.
Right.
All right. So next question for you is, what does writing do for you?
Everything.
Yeah,
everything. So as I told you, it's my catharsis, my rehab. Like earlier, if I had a problem, I'll talk to my best friend. I'll talk to my mom. Now I don't talk to anyone. I just write it down and I burn it or I publish it. And I've realized that only you can find the answers. You can talk to as many people as you want, but only you are capable of finding the solution to your problem. And it messes it up when you're talking to a lot of people about it. Like the problem gets bigger and everyone is giving you their opinions. So it really messes up. So writing is my everything, I would say.
Wow. So you find all your answers in your writing.
Right. Like it's more than a profession to me. I would say it's like a calling. Maybe I was put on earth to just write a blog. Nothing more than that.
Yeah. Wow, that's absolutely, you have again put something like so beautifully. So thank you for that. All right. So next question for you is, okay, so when you are writing, do you need a particular setting for it, or when you want to write, do you just, grab quickly your diary and your pen and you just, wherever you are, you start writing? Or do you need a particular, like, this is how it should be?
No, I don't have a writing desk, and I don't need it because I'm not a habitual person. Routine really puts me off because I know some writer friends who would sit religiously and write for an hour or 2 hours.
Right.
But it has to come from within for me. Like, I have to get something off my chest, and that is when I write.
Yeah. So it's not like, you won't just...
I keep a diary and pen with me whenever I'm traveling on long drives. I'll just go quiet and I'll start writing. So it happens, but yeah.
It's as simple as that. Yeah, like there is no particular setting, there is no writing desk. It's just... Hi, Nikita.
Hi.
Can you see me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, all good? Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. So, are we good?
I'm not able to see you, but I can hear you.
Okay. Not yet. Not even now.
No.
Okay, let me invite you once again. I'll just, add you once again. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, are we good? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Perfect?
Yeah, I can see you. I can hear you.
Okay. So, Nikita, for how long have you been in States for now?
I would say almost 7 years. I moved here in 2013.
So, how is, life, I would say, away from home? Like, obviously, I'm pretty sure that, you get homesick quite often. And does that, influence your writing also? Does that inspire you to write more often? Or, so, yeah, please just go ahead and talk.
So I would say that immigrant life is like hanging between the two poles. Like, you're just hanging there. I feel I've fallen in love with, of course, you love your motherland. All of us love our motherland. But I've really fallen in love with this country. And I've learned so much. I have been put into really uncomfortable situations. And I got to know how people really think. It is very difficult to stay away from your family, like really difficult, especially during the festivals. It gets almost depressing here.
Yeah.
So, but we try to visit our family once in a year, and like we're always hanging. We are not sure if we would like to stay here forever. We want to return, but we don't know when and how this is going to happen. So, yeah, it's a very vulnerable thing, I would say. Like, I get really emotional when I talk about this. Like, there are some days I just want to pack my bag and go back to India. But then, I've tried that. We have tried that. We tried moving back, but things have changed inside us. So,
absolutely.
I don't know. It's difficult to settle in one country now. Like, we will be forever moving here and there.
Yeah, possibly, because, you will just be hopping and, like India will always be home, but yeah, absolutely. So does this feeling inspire your writings? Like, can we see this possibly this is this a theme that keeps recurring in your writings, you would say?
Yeah, I think it has inspired me to write more because when I moved here, I did not have the work permit, so I was just all alone. I had nothing to do. Suddenly, I lost my job and all that. So I had a lot of time to retrospect, to think about what is happening in my life, and honestly, I've also faced identity crisis. Like, what am I really doing with my life? I'm just sitting here like a homemaker doing nothing.
Yeah.
So, but I try to keep myself busy. I have always been writing and publishing my work, updating my blogs, and I faced really difficult situations too here, and I've met wonderful people too. So it has opened up new horizons. My mind exploded, if I can say that. So a lot of misconceptions about people just vanished.
Yeah.
So there are all kinds of people everywhere. Like, we easily put them in boxes, like Americans are this, Indians are this. But there are all kinds of people everywhere.
Exactly. Like, you cannot define everybody in one single definition. Like, you cannot say that, Indians are like this, or French people are like this. Like, everybody is an individual. Everybody has got their individuality, and like, I'm sure you must have explored that, and you must have met so many people, and I think it must have helped you to break those boxes and take people for their individuality. Okay, this person so and so is just this person, and that's how it is. Like, no ifs, no buts. Yeah.
Once I met a person and he was like, did you used to travel on elephants to your school? I was like, I guess even my grandfather never traveled on an elephant. Which world are you living? You have internet. You can just Google how people travel in India.
Yeah. To be very honest, because, I have traveled like a fair share. And unfortunately, it really makes me sad, to be very honest, to see that people have so many misconceptions when it comes to India. It's still there. It's still like, it just makes me sad because, you have Google, you have all the internet, you have everything where you can just look up and see what India is. So, this is like one feeling that, it just makes me feel bad sometimes. But then what I think about is that I will try and make sure that, through possibly my travels or my Instagram or howsoever that I can, that no, that's not how it is. I'm sorry to break this news to you, but like, when you look at India, we have this beautiful culture. We have so many language. We have absolutely so many beautiful things. Yes, there was a history. Everybody has that. And, but it's a beautiful country that's just, moving ahead in pace. So possibly, I'm pretty sure that must have,
Yeah. And some of them really don't want to believe. Like, maybe it makes them feel better that there are some countries we are better off. So, and they will never miss a chance to look down upon you. So you cannot help them.
Absolutely.
Anything you show them, anything you tell them, they're not going to change their minds.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, they would like to, keep you in that box. They don't want to give you that, that right, that, okay, no, you don't belong to that box, because that box is nothing. To be honest, it's just it's just a whim. It's just something that you have created in your head. And maybe it just gives them comfort in that sense. And sometimes, there is nothing that you can do about it.
Yeah, I've learned that with, like, the hardest lesson of my life. You cannot make people believe in something unless they want to.
Absolutely. So true. So that's one topic that I really wanted to discuss with you. And I'm apologizing in advance, because when we'll have that audio call, so we are coming back to this topic, home away from home. And we will talk about this in depth, like, we'll talk about a lot of episodes, a lot of memories, a lot of experiences. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, me too. And thank you so much, because I would not have done this if you had not pushed me.
I am so glad that you agree, to be very honest. I am very happy, because the whole idea of Shruti Out Loud is because, in our days, we never got this exposure because we wanted to do so many things, but we did not have inspiration enough to just take that leap. So that's the smallest of efforts that I'm trying to do with this podcast, that just invite people from different walks of life and just have a beautiful conversation with them and put it out there for people to listen, for people to get inspired from, and just a lot of people might just relate to so many things that we are talking about.
Right.
So I'm so happy that you agreed to be here.
Thank you.
All right, so quickly we'll move to our next question. All right, so what is your daily motivation?
Look, I'm an observer, and if you observe things, there's motivation everywhere. Like a flower coming through a concrete, a homeless singing with a guitar, a child learning how to walk. So it's everywhere.
So it's just just look around and you'll find it.
Right, just look around. And
great.
We rarely notice things. We are just going on in our life, like we don't even look at people. And if you just look at them, if you try to talk to them, you will know everything about them. But nobody is actually trying right now. We are too busy keeping that fake image that we don't want the world to know who we really are.
Right. Okay. Monica is saying hello. Hi, Monica.
Hi, Monica. She's my writer.
Oh, wow. So glad that, you joined us in this conversation that Nikita and, we are having this beautiful conversation about her journey as a writer. So thank you for being one of our audience. All right. So, Nikita, can you maybe tell people how they can, get to read your books and where they can buy, or what's the way of reaching you, basically?
Okay, I have a link on my blog where I have left a link to all my books. Some of them are available only in India. Some of them are available internationally. So it's all on my blog. So.
All right. And could you just tell the name of your blog to our audience once so that, they know what exactly...
It's called The Enchantress. And if you can leave the link somewhere, I would love to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So already in all the posts that are in which I am talking about Nikita, there you will find the link. And if in any case you want to talk about anything with her, you can either get in touch with me or you can get in touch with Nikita on her Instagram directly. And absolutely, let's just create this beautiful world of inspiration and possibly, bring up a lot of new writers and authors and people who just love to write.
And you're doing a wonderful job, Shruti. Like, I've heard all the audio calls. It's beautiful. It's beautiful because you make people actually say things with the right questions. So you know how to dig deeper, and it's beautiful.
I have heard this thing, like, the few recordings that I've put up, and I have shared the links with those guests, and then they got back and they were telling me that, okay, I had no idea that, we discussed that part. And like, so I'm actually very glad that, possibly I am just that medium who is sort of, just taking you deeper and, helping you dig deeper and, just either reliving all those memories or absolutely. So that's the whole idea, and I'm so glad that all the guests who have agreed so far to be a part of this, like, I would say I might have done something right in my life that people are absolutely agreeing to be a part of this.
And you've always been surrounded with beautiful people. Like, I remember back in college, you were in theater, you were in this competition, that competition. Like, you always had people who were really eager to do something.
One of the reasons why I could never attend the classes. I was actually very torn between those two worlds. Because in school, obviously, schools are like very different, and, teachers are always there and everything is like scheduled. In college, it was like, just go wild. And I decided to go wild somehow. And I was just torn between these two beautiful worlds, the world of literature and the world of, I would say, art, which was music and theater and everything, dance and everything else. So I think I just could not choose. All right. So Nikita, before I let you go, and we'll obviously get on that audio call and we'll talk about everything in detail. So before I let you go, we are going to do a quick rapid fire round.
Yes.
And so if you have seen
this is my coffee with Karan Johar moment.
Yes. Absolutely. Just possibly just grab your cup of coffee or anything, and we can just pretend to be on, coffee with Karan. I can be Karan and you can be whosoever you want to be. So let's do it. All right. So your first prompt is Delhi. Hello. I think, hi.
Hi.
Yeah. All right. So your first prompt is Delhi.
Delhi. First love.
All right. Next prompt is college life.
I could have lived better.
All right. Okay. Mirror.
Mirrors reflect your soul.
Beautifully said. Companion.
That's a difficult one. That's a deep one.
Yeah.
Life support system, I would say.
All right. Perfect. All right. And the last one is a pen.
Pen is mightier than the sword.
Perfectly put. You have just, perfectly, ended this whole beautiful conversation. And I would again like to thank you so much, Nikita, for agreeing to be a part of this. And I really hope to, see you doing, you have been writing, and I hope to, yeah?
Sorry, I got a call in between.
Oh, okay. No worries. Yeah, I'm just saying that, I wish to maybe just see you doing more live sessions or something or the other, because, you have done it beautifully. Like, I have to say this, like, all the questions and everything, you have that calm and, you have that composure in you. And I think you should definitely think about it and maybe, just pick one of those topics and just go live for about 5, 10, 15 minutes and just talk about it and let people view this beautiful side of the conversations that you have been creating through your pen. And yeah, maybe just, try a different mode, because I'm pretty sure that it's going to be beautiful.
I would be forever grateful to you for this, Shruti. Thank you.
I am so glad. I am so glad. And thank you once again. And we will be getting on that call soon, and we'll be talking in depth about so many more things. And I would like to wish you a very beautiful day ahead. And
you too. Okay.
And thank you for taking out time in early morning hours for this conversation.
I know that was the tough part. I slept at 3.
Oh, wow. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
All right, Nikita. I will let you go now and have a great day ahead.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye. Take care.
Bye-bye. You too. Bye.